Fantasy anime. This genre is probably one of the most saturated in the anime industry, and it's not entirely a bad thing. Of course, there are some hiccups here and there, like, Sword Art Online. But there are some bangers as well. RE0, Demon Slayer, and more. You have elf girls, magic, kingdoms, elf girls, knights, monsters, elf girls, and did I forget to mention, elf girls! Welcome to Anime Donut, your source for anime news and videos. Hey, we may not be the most healthy option, but be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so we can give you some more tasty treats. The word fantasy has been with us even before anime was invented. Hell, it was there at the very dawn of mankind, which is why it's so interesting and entertaining to watch. Weebs usually associate fantasy with isekai, but it isn't like that. Fantasy just means imagining things that aren't usually possible in reality. It shows just how creative the human mind can be, mixing different cultures and cultivating it into a series that millions love and adore. But sometimes humanity's degeneracy comes out, and I'm forced to think if we have any hope of surviving as a species. But I'm not here to talk about how the world's gonna end. Instead, let me present to you my picks for the top 5 best fantasy anime of all time. Number 1, the Fate series. Fate fans, it's time to rise up! I mean, seriously. This series may have some complications, like how it's easier to understand the theory of relativity than understanding the Fate timeline, but apart from that, it's actually a really good show. Fate mixes fantasy with modernity, where a war between mages and reincarnations of fabled legendary mythical characters like King Arthur, Leonidas, Medusa, and more is happening. Different parts of the series may have different studios working on it, but one thing is for sure. The animation does not miss. Although it's hard to grasp the overall plot, the individual parts of the series are actually enjoyable to watch without even knowing it. For example, I watched Fate Zero before Fate Stay Night, and it was okay, because when I searched correct Fate watch order on Google, you have better luck of finding Bigfoot than finding a watch order that everybody agrees on. Aside from that, Fate embodies the word fantasy and gives us a unique perspective on how it'll work in our era instead of taking us into another world. Number 2, Demon Slayer. Okay, before you guys riot, let me tell you something. Demon Slayer is good. Now hold on, let me explain some more. Demon Slayer may not have that deep plot line full of twists like other series, but even with how straightforward it is, it's actually enjoyable to watch for both beginner and veteran anime watchers. I mean, come on. You have to admit that the animation is one of the best out there, which is why it's so famous in the first place. Demon Slayer also does a good job of expressing emotion to their viewers, even if you just met a character at the beginning of a movie. You cried when he became a donut after about 2 hours. And I still haven't recovered. Even with the new season of Demon Slayer, more and more plot points are being uncovered, and it became a bit more interesting. The villains are cool. The Hashiras may all be a little bit depressed and angry, but hey, who wouldn't be if a demon just ate your mom? Overall, it's one of the best fantasy anime you can watch without needing a high IQ, which I know you don't have. Number 3, Made in Abyss. Now, most of you may not have heard about this anime, and it's just sad. I mean, you're missing out on a literal masterpiece that has 2 seasons, and they were all bangers. Bangers, I tell you. For those that have watched the anime, why don't you leave a comment below and just straight up tell these newbies how big of an L they're taking right now. Basically, unlike most fantasy anime that have magic and dragons and knights, Made in Abyss is all about adventure. We follow the story of Reg, a cyborg, and Riko, a young girl, who go down the abyss in search of Riko's mom and explore its deepest parts. Basically, the abyss is a hole so deep that it's divided into different areas filled with alien creatures and wildlife. The storytelling is literally a 10 out of 10. And you best believe that the soundtrack hits so hard. I wish I was playing it in an opera house. But do you know what sets this show apart? Well, it ain't a show for kids because it is horrific. It's so brutal that when I saw that kid's guts being torn apart by those corpse sweepers, I literally had goosebumps. And you best believe they weren't kidding around when they released season 2. Look at Rico. She's the main character, a kid about to die. Made in Abyss perfectly captures just how the harsh realities of one of these fantasy worlds and how it can destroy people inside and out, and how sometimes an adventure isn't always rainbows and sunshine. Number 4, One Piece. Yes, One Piece is a fantasy anime, because where in the heck would you find a world like the one Oda just made up? I mean, sure, it doesn't have magic, but what are devil fruits? Those are basically magic powers you just get from eating something. So yeah, it's a fantasy anime. So shut up, because it's in the top 5, and it's good. Not only good, but legendary. So if you've never heard of this anime, you must have been living under a rock. One Piece is basically all about a kid named Luffy, who wants to be king of the pirates. He gathers his own crew and fights a 23-foot dragon man and a guy who turns into sand, among other things. But if you're new to anime, I suggest you go to watch shows like Demon Slayer first, because this one might be a little too tough. Why, you ask? Well, it only has, 1,070 plus episodes, so yeah, good luck. Anyways, why does everyone love One Piece? Well, for one, even when it has that many episodes, the plot is actually pretty fun to follow. You get to see how the main character and his crew grow every step of the way, and there's nothing like the good old power of friendship. The latest episodes literally broke the internet, and even if you watch spoilers, you wouldn't understand what happened, which is one of the advantages of having more than 1,000 episodes. So if that amount doesn't scare you, go watch it. Number 5, Attack on Titan. Now this is a show you need to watch at least once in your lifetime. Yep, I'm talking about that infamous flesh mecha anime series, Attack on Titan. I agree with that one YouTuber who called it a flesh mecha, because it technically is if you think about it hard enough. Aside from that, we have a crying angry teenager, an overpowered female simp, and a femboy. These 3 go on to become scouts, and their mission is to destroy every last Titan. I mean, look at them. They're basically your drunk uncle at every family gathering. And best of all, it hasn't even ended yet, because the final season Part 3, Part 2 still doesn't have a release date. I'm not kidding. It's literally called Attack on Titan, the final season Part 3, Part 2.
Bruh.
What happened to anime getting normal seasons? But the main question is, are all those parts worth it? Heck yeah. Attack on Titan has surprised its fans so many times that if you're not a manga reader, you couldn't even predict the ending. It's a masterpiece within masterpieces, and surprisingly, almost everyone agrees, except for FMA fans. There's so much to uncover in the world of Attack on Titan that every discovery will make you want to watch it even more. It has some of the best twists in any anime show ever. So those are my picks for the top 5 fantasy anime you must watch. You might agree with them, or you might not, but hey, you could always stick to the trashy harem isekai shows that arrive every season. Or why not comment down below what your top 5 fantasy anime are? Let us discuss. And if you like that video, why not smash that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you won't be like Kazuma from Rent a Girlfriend. Anime Donut, rolling out.